Now, the first malaria treatment suitable for babies and very young children has been approved for use and is expected to be rolled out here in Africa within weeks. The new vaccine is expected to be offered largely on a not-for-profit basis. The new treatment, developed by Novartis, has been approved by authorities in Switzerland. Malaria treatments do exist, but until now there were none specifically for the very youngest babies and small children. Doses for older children may not be safe for babies whose liver functions are still developing and who process medicines differently. In 2023, malaria was linked to almost 600,000 deaths, around 3/4 of them in children under 5 years old. Well, for more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by the Director General and CEO of the Nigerian Institute for Pharmaceutical Research and Development, NIPRD, Dr. Obi Adigwe. Dr. Adigwe, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Evening, Charles.
Evening to you. So, approval for a drug in Switzerland, the first to treat malaria in babies and young children. 8 African countries who participated in the assessment, including Nigeria, are now also expected to approve the treatment. I don't know if it comes through your desk, but this is potentially good news, isn't it?
Yes, so prior to now, neonates, children under a month, 28 days, usually between 2.5 and 5 kg, didn't have specific medication that was focused on them. And like you rightly mentioned, even though pharmacists, highly trained professionals, will use very sophisticated calculations to taper down the dosage, there has always been that risk of side effects, toxicity, and overdose. So the MMV, together with Novartis and under the EDCPT project, did a phase 2 and phase 3 clinical trial in this part of the world. And it's the evidence that's now being put forward to say that children under 5 kg, will be now catered for, because prior to now, they were a group that had been neglected in terms of malaria treatment. So it's good news, right, like you've mentioned.
So in terms of safety, I mean, they were actually being overdosed potentially with the drugs that were being given up till now. But now they're going to be getting the exposure exactly that they need in the safe and efficacious range. But I'm wondering if that is the only difference with this drug, purely the dose, but the formulation is pretty similar to what already exists.
Exactly. So the product is artemether lumefantrine. Artemether has been used in its previous form by the Chinese for over 2,000 years. Qinghao Su, Artemisia annua, over to artemisinin, and then 25 years ago, when chloroquine was now dropped as the drug of choice for malaria, artemisinin-based combination therapy now came to the fore. So you have artemether and lumefantrine. Lumefantrine is an amino alcohol fluorine derivative. So the combination is there to ensure that you're getting efficacious treatment, but also forestalling the potential for resistance, which Plasmodium malaria, can come forward. So this particular intervention is not a new formulation. It's just looking at a group of individuals who could be born with malaria, placental malaria, or who could have malaria at that very young age, and whose pharmacokinetics is unique, whose whose metabolism isn't quite up to scratch. Catering for those particular individuals, to ensure that they can now move to the stage where they become infants and can take, the other formulations that are available in the market.
Very interesting. But of course, once again, Africa, including Nigeria, is depending on the charity of others to look after itself. Why is this country so far behind in the development of treatments for deadly diseases that are endemic to itself? and in strengthening its own critical health services. And I direct this question specifically to you because you're the Director General of the Nigerian Institute for Pharmaceutical Research and Development.
Very good question, Charles. And like I mentioned earlier on, artemisinin, which is the precursor to artemether, isn't a new drug. The Chinese put in a lot of investment in the 70s and in the 80s. That's how they got it from sweet wormwood, Qinghao all the way to artemisinin, and then it became artemether. This current administration has now put pharmaceutical development to the fore. You have the presidential initiative on value-added creation. You have the new intervention by the minister, where NIPRD led in the pulling in of about 18 million euros for vaccines, research and development, and manufacturing under the MAF Plus program. That particular intervention is due to begin in a matter of weeks. And then most recently, and very specific to this discussion, the Honorable Minister just inaugurated a phytomedicines Development and Commercialization Committee, which we're also privileged to head. And it has scientists, it has industrialists, it has people from the agricultural sector, it has people from manufacturing, all there. In fact, if you go to our website right now, niprd.gov.ng, on the landing page, there's a questionnaire there where we're collecting data. And this is the exact move that the Chinese made in the 70s and in the 80s that enabled them get a phytomedicine from plants that have been in use for thousands of years and all the way to what we're talking about now, that is now a groundbreaking drug that has been in use for over 10 years. Nigeria has thousands of plants, which have ethnomedicinal and phytomedicinal value. But up until now, we haven't leveraged, that phytomedicinal resource to actually bring to the fore healthcare intervention while also catalyzing socio-economic development, job creation, capacity building, technology transfer, and revenue generation.
Right.
So this committee that is on the board now and which will be handing in recommendations is going to turn it around so that you can get these sort of interventions from Nigerian plants.
So basically, briefly, you're investing in scaling up research in addressing public health challenges facing this country.
So that's the interesting thing. This administration has said NIPRD, rather than investing only in NIPRD and training 100 scientists, they've said, no, NIPRD, bring your expertise. You did a lot of work in sickle cell. You did a lot of work with the COVID organics product from Madagascar, first in the world analysis. Bring that to the fore, find international partners so that we can build an entire ecosystem.
That's a good idea.
So that it's the entire country moving forward. Scientists across the 200 universities in Nigeria, industrialists in the 160 manufacturing companies, and across the entire ecosystem will be able to benefit. And I'm sure you're aware that the president the president also put in a presidential executive order on the pharmaceutical sector, which is, I would say, one of the fastest interventions, which has just started rolling out. I sent a team to Lagos to the manufacturers and they've started benefiting from that. This all ties into the entire ecosystem to make sure that Nigerians will soon have a succor in terms of health access and socio-economic development.
Well, that's very hopeful. Thank you very much indeed. And as you make progress, please come back and talk to us.
Absolutely, Charles. Thank you.
Dr. Adigwe is the Director General and CEO of the Nigerian Institute for Pharmaceutical Research and Development, NIPRD.